Hi folks! Thanks for joining us on this video. If you're new here, I'm Willie.
And I'm Sarah.
We're a musician and artist, and we recently sold our suburban home to move to a tiny, nearly 200-year-old cottage on the Isle of Skye in the Scottish Highlands with our dog, Jack Spaniels.
Having just completed our stone outbuilding conversion, we were so excited for moving in day.
Also, I built a brand new desk from the old byre door.
See it all coming together as we start settling into our new creative spaces.
Join us as we continue living the Skye Life. This is currently my workspace in the living room. This is where I do all the editing for the videos and make music. And this is going to be moved into the byre piece by piece. So I'm going to take this apart, put it on the lawn with everything else that's going in there. And then I'll show you all on the lawn before it goes into the byre. So this is living the Skye Life studios, or Shabby Road studios as I've always called it. My drum kit and everything's over there as well. I've taken out of the shed. And my bottle collection as well in those cardboard boxes over there. And it's all got to go into the byre now.
Spot the spaniel. You being the roadie, Jack? Are you helping? Or do you want to play?
Anyone that knows me knows that I love my antique bottle collection. So I had to go in the new studio first. Then I didn't miss a beat in getting my drum kit in there.
I think Willie got his drum set up.
Then it was time to start assembling my music and video making desk. Who lives in a house like this? Sarah's not got her stuff in here yet, but I've got my stuff in mine. Music stuff, Coolo bottle stuff, hell out the back stuff, more Coolo bottle stuff, tartan seat stuff, got it in the Highlands, it's the rules. Guitar stuff, whole drum kit stuff. Not too shabby as Shabby Road Studios, eh?
Time to rename it.
Woo! This was just the first phase of moving in. Stick around to see how I tackle the lively acoustics of the room, but in keeping with the aesthetic that I wanted too. I'm really quite happy. I'm surrounded by balls that I've dug, beautiful things that I love, beautiful guitars, full drum kit, and this is just the dream that has come true.
You just need a boat now. As you can see, it was quite cramped working in the spare room of the cottage, so I couldn't wait to move my stuff into the byre too.
Jack, you might think that's helping, buddy, but it's not really helping on moving day. Do you want to come out of your new den, please?
Do you want a bit of toast?
You can have some toast. He says deal. Nice toast, yum yum. Peanut butter.
No, don't.
Oh no, what are we going to do? We have to move in another day. Come on, Jack, out you come. Bring your block. Good boy.
Come on, Scott.
Let's move stuff.
Move it. Now our spare room is spare again. For now, I think it's going to just be our laundry drying room, but obviously we need to get some furniture and hopefully turn this back into a spare room where people can stay with us. I've got a lot of sorting out to do. I almost immediately changed my mind after getting everything inside and realised I wanted my printing station over here and my packaging station over here. Oops. I knew this would happen. I'm so indecisive.
Behind me here are 3 boxes of antique bottles that I'm taking to our friend Karen, who runs the antique shop in Broadford. Normally Karen takes these bottles from us because she can sell them in her shop, but today she's got some vintage rugs that I'm interested in buying. So I'm going to go along and hopefully barter these bottles for those rugs. Let's see how it goes.
I'm sat at home here editing, and Willie went out today to hopefully sell some antique bottles, but also to look at some Afghan rugs that he was interested in. And I thought he was going to look at maybe 1 or 2. He just called me and he said, so I've bought 5 rugs. And then the call got cut off because he has no signal. 5 rugs! Where are we going to put 5 rugs? We haven't even got 5 rooms that need rugs.
I got 5, traded with them, had to pay a little bit of money, but not as much as I would have done if I didn't have those bottles to get rid of as well. So beautiful bottles, but they were up our loft and I wasn't displaying them, so they were collecting dust. So this barter is far better. Let's check these rugs out. Five very cool original wool Afghan rugs. I'm really happy with that deal. They've got my studio so well. Well, we just finished putting everything in here, and Jack Spaniels gives us seal of approval, don't you, Jack? Anywhere there's a rug, Jack Spaniels will lie down, even if it's in front of a drum kit.
Good luck, Jack Spaniels.
Yeah, I won't play when he's there though, I'm not that mean. Aside from the acoustic dampening from the rugs, these Hessian coffee sacks I think are perfect for the vintage look of the room. Plus, they were an absolute steal on eBay. Also, I fitted wall hangers for my guitars under my wooden shelves. You might recognise this old door. It was the original external door for the byre, and now it's sitting up against the wall and it's not being used, but it's about to be because I'm going to make it into a workbench for the shed. It's pretty solid structurally, so that's no problem. I'm just going to take the ends off here because it's just a little bit big. Aside from that, it's good to go once I've got the hinges off and this bolt. Jack's come to help, of course. Don't whittle on that, Jack, or there's going to be trouble. Don't do it, Jack. Good boy. This is what the shed looks like in a minute. It's full of stuff, and I'm planning to make those shelves out of the fish boxes in the 3x2s. But it occurred to me, I'm not going to have anywhere to work. So what I'm going to do is, by the light, I'm going to make a little workbench from that door, and that'll be my little workstation. First of all, I'm going to cut the door and make the top of the bench. So let's get on with that. Actually, change of plan. I'm going to take the hinges off first. So it'll make it easier to cut. Right, that's the metal work off. Let's get the ends cut off. I'd like to add, this door's only about 8 years old. It looks old because it's been outside in the Skye weather conditions, but it's not actually that old. Richard actually made it. So I'm going to cut the ends off, then I'm going to look at how it's going to fit into the shed. Okay, that's the ends cut off. But what I'm going to do is shorten it a little bit on the edges as well because it's just a little bit too wide. Because the corner here is part of the structure, I can only take off so much. So I'm only going to take off about that much on each side and hopefully miss all these screws. So yeah, I'm going to cut off a bit here and a bit here, and that won't mess with the structural integrity, these cross beams. Let's do that. Okay, here we have it then. So that's about the size I wanted. Happy with that. With the leftover wood down there, I'm actually going to beef it up a bit, give it a bit more structural integrity. So that's what I'll do next before I start building the legs. aside from it being a great little workbench, it's also a great little place for Jack Spaniels to hide out in the shades on sunny days apparently. So sorry Jack, I'm going to be moving this soon though. So now I'm going to get some bits of 4x2 and make the legs, make the structure underneath, and then it'll be ready to go in the shed once it's been tidied out, which I'm not looking forward to at all. Job done! It's quite windy, so I hope you can hear me, but it's all good, it's solid. And Jack Spaniels loves it too. You want to help? Okay, we'll help you. There we go. How's that, Jack? You like it? Is that Daddy's nice bench? Who's a good boy? What do you reckon, Jack? 10 out of 10? 7? Oh, one then. Slight change of plan. I don't just like that workbench, I absolutely love it. So why don't make it my desk instead? This old table here came in my dad's old garage and he used to use that as a workbench. So why don't I take that and put it out there and bring the bench that I've just made in here, because it's the byre door as well. It's just in keeping. So you know what that means, don't you? It's coming in here. There we are. I think that's much nicer, much more in keeping. And as I said before, it is the byre door, one that Richard built, so it's not that old, but it was the byre door for a number of years. So it's been salvaged just like the other one. This one, which was in the middle partition, the original one, and is now in the new one. Jack is very interested. What are you sitting in there, Sarah?
It's my new bed.
Is this your break bed when you're supposed to be working?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's my nap bed.
It's a bit big for you though, isn't it?
That's perfect, look.
That's nice.
It's really comfy.
So tell the viewers whose bed it really is.
This is for Jack.
Why did you order an extra large bed?
I did not! Yeah, this is apparently a medium dog bed. Our patron said that we should get Jack his own sofa because he always just takes over the sofa. And I may have taken them at their word accidentally. So
this was meant to be a bed which used to fit down there. So obviously there's no way that that's going to fit in that area now.
The measurements online made me think I was getting one like this size in total. I thought that would be perfect.
Medium dog. It's like it's for a Tyrannosaurus Rex or something. It's enormous. You get De Niro and Jack in there. Actually, I'm going to get in.
I mean, it's a little small for you.
I don't know, I could sleep here. It's spacious.
I'll have to zoom out to actually get it all in the shot.
Well, looks like we're just going to have to get another dog then. So, you've got yourself and your dog in there.
This is actually quite nice. I can sit and cuddle Jack.
Is this a new thing? Owner and pet's bed?
You don't need to buy a new sofa, you just buy a dog a bed and sit in it.
What do you think, viewers? Do you think this is a good thing? Like a new thing that Sarah's invented here? The human and canine bed. Jack, what do you think? What do you think of the new bed with Mummy? When Mummy's having her breaks, you two can just chill out in bed together and have cuddles. That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, you like having cuddles in bed, don't you, Jack? But you're not supposed to be in our bed. This is your bed, though.
Wow, you've got your own proper full-size human bed. Well, okay, so you've invented a new thing. That's pretty cool. I don't think we'll all get in there though.
So we are really getting there with the byre now. We're pretty much all moved in and there's just a few little bits and pieces still to sort out. And one of those things is covering up the fuse box. Ian installed us a fuse box so we can isolate the power in here without having to go back into the main house. So it's just a little hole in the wall at the moment. Willie put a little frame around it, which is nice, but we kind of want to hide it away but still have it accessible. We thought that we would repurpose the bathroom cabinet from inside the cottage. We replaced it with a new cabinet, which is huge. It needed to be pretty big for all of my stuff, but the little one, it's still fine, it's just not big enough. So we thought, actually, let's reuse that and take the back out of it, and that way we can cover up the fuse box, but we have really easy access to it. Sounds like a pretty simple job. It's just cutting out the back. I did think Willie was going to do it, but it's been sitting on the floor for a few days. He's out with Jack at the moment, and I thought, you know what? I can do this. I realise Willie is the main DIYer in the household, but I'm sure I can do this job. So, wish me luck. I thought it was just going to be as simple as taking out the back, but it needs these corner bits in to put it flush against the wall when you screw it in. So I'm going to need to cut this backboard here. As you might be able to see, we haven't quite got round to sorting out the shed yet. That's the next project. There's just enough room to set up this little workbench, so I'm just going to saw the end off this board right here. Not entirely sure how I'm going to get to them. Excellent. Got one! That took way longer than it should have done. Difficult. Either I'm really bad at sawing or that was really difficult. Yeah, it's very neat. Fuse box. Hidden away. Okay, there we go. Gonna be honest, it was not quite the simple job I had thought it was, but it was simple enough that I think I've managed to do it correctly. We'll see in the morning if it's still on the wall. I'm not allowed to do DIY by myself anymore. Actually, I wasn't allowed to do DIY by myself anyway. These are plasterboard screws.
Fixings. Yep.
And you're supposed to use those to stop things falling out of the wall.
Yeah, which
it didn't fall out the wall.
It moved as soon as I touched it. So these things here, you screw them in first and then you put the screw into that. And that gives it a chance of not falling off. If you're not going into like a joist or a hard surface, then you need these things or similar to make sure that it doesn't fall off. There, perfect, boom. And now you put the thing back up and then you put the screws in and then it's done. I'll hold it, you hit it.
It was quite difficult to do by myself.
I bet it was. Cool, well done.
We've been working really hard getting the byre ready for our studio spaces, so let's go inside and have a look. Ta-da! Here we are in my studio space. Most importantly, we've got to test out Jack's bed. So this is Jack's ginormous new bed for the studio, because before he was just sleeping on a bit of spare blankie. But now we've got him his own bed, admittedly slightly larger than I thought it was going to be, but it's very comfortable, and it means I can come down here for cuddles, just in case I'm working too hard, and he can keep an eye on the door and see where everyone's going to be. And most importantly, Jack, it fits with my colour scheme. This is the creative corner of the studio, so this is where I will be doing my paintings and also doing editing as well. This desk is from my grandparents' house. It started off in Hull, which is in Yorkshire in England, and it came up to Newcastle, it came up to Stirling with me, it's been in Fife, and now it's on the Isle of Skye, so it's had a pretty long journey, and I'm really looking forward to starting some work on it again. This is where I do all my prints that go on my Etsy store and into all the retailers on Skye, and it's right next to my computer, so it's perfect. We kind of want to hide all of this because it's a bit of a mess, but we're probably going to wait and see if something comes up on Gumtree or Skye free ads, maybe a nice vintage or antique piece of furniture, so I can hide that all away and make it a bit tidier. But for now, it's doing the job, and once I've done those prints, this is where I do all my packaging. So this is my Etsy station. So all my drawers are full of envelopes and tubes. This is where I stand and package all my prints and do all my postage and stuff. Over here, this is just my small printer for doing labels. This is my stock as well. So I've utilised some of the crates and stuff we found on the beach. I've salvaged some from Willie's project in the shed, and I think it just looks a lot better than it was before because I just had piles of cardboard boxes everywhere. So it's nice to get everything organised. What I quite like about having the studio space now is that we can decorate the walls in our own specific style. So some of the things I wouldn't put up in the house necessarily, I can have in here. This is one of my paintings from when I was at uni. I did study painting at university. I went to Manchester Metropolitan Uni, and that was one of the pieces I did in second year. Alongside my tiny bottle collection, I also have things and trinkets and stuff that I've collected on my various travels. So I've got postcards from New Zealand, I've got a little mug from New York, the little dolls from Russia. There's lots of things that remind me of the trips that I've taken in the past. On this side, I think I'm going to leave blank for the moment because I'm probably going to fill it with my own work. So when I start making new paintings, so that's probably where they will go. That's a little print that my brother brought us from Orkney. This is a little artwork that we were given by Nicola, who is another YouTuber. She does lots of mudlarking on the Thames. She also does these amazing artworks made from the pottery shards that she's found on the Thames foreshore, which is really cool. And that is an original artwork that I bought while I was in New York. And these are just some little things that my old housemate gave me as a present. This is another of my paintings, so I think this was from my final year of university. I really love the colours in that one, and it goes really well with these little posters that I got in Vietnam, I think. There's a definite colour theme going around in my studio. As you've probably seen, we used the old bathroom cabinet from inside the cottage and repurposed it into a cover for our fuse box. It's a perfect height for me to look in the mirror. Not so much for Willie, but it's my studio, so it's fine. Let's not forget about that view. It's a bit grey today, but it's still absolutely stunning. And we also now have a doormat as well. This might be the most important part of the studio. Jack snacks. Do you want a biscuit? Yes, you would like a biscuit, I think. Oh, gentle. Good boy. Make a mess on my rug. Oh yeah, nice mess. Jack, look at that. Excuse me, are you going to hoover that up? Guess we'll have to do it.
You mean me, eh?
Maybe. Our patrons decided this is where the naughty corner sign should go. Our patrons did a poll over who was most deserving of the naughty corner sign, and someone won by a long shot. So he's got the naughty corner leading into his studio, which is where we'll go next.
So from Sarah's lovely clean white studio that she needs for her art, I don't need as much light, which is why I don't have the big window in the front, or door as the case may be. Got a small window in the back. But the main difference is I've gone for a sort of old worldy pub look. Let's check it out. Shabby Road Studios, Mark, I don't know, 10 or something. Here we are. Really need to oil those hinges.
It's got a very oldie-worldy charm to it.
That's true, actually. I won't oil those hinges. So I've shown these before when I first came in. I put these on the door. This is the door that we actually salvaged from the buyer in the first place. Here it is in all its lovely old glory with its original fittings. Into the studio. This is my desk. This is where I sit and make videos like this one that you're watching just now. These are my studio speakers. My computer goes here and then all my gubbins up the back there. This is the desk that I made. Originally I was intending to put the desk that I had in the house in here, but as it turned out this just looks much more in keeping with the rest of the studio, so I decided to use this. Also slightly higher, which is good for my back as well. Got my microphone set up here so we can do instant voiceovers, or I can record vocals or guitar parts or whatever. Got my little keyboard set up. It's a MIDI keyboard, which means that I can use all sorts of different instruments that are generated on my computer. For acoustic instruments, I've got, well, acoustic instruments. I've also got my amplifiers, a little Fender amplifier, which I got when I was 15 from my mum and dad for my birthday, to one that I bought myself. This is a Vox AC30, which is the one that I use mostly. It's a valve amp, so it's really a nice warm sound. Just a little bit of storage here for my cables and things. These boxes belong to my granny, and this was in my student flat, which I pinched. Sorry about that, landlord. Up to here. So you may remember when I built this, the entire shelving unit, the wall was actually two thicknesses. It was all staggered and there was big sort of undulations and weird shapes. And it's the perfect place for all my antique bottles. These are all old Victorian poison bottles. These case gins, etc. and bladder bottles. And these are all ginger beer bottles as well, which are my absolute favourites. These are big old local poison bottles from Fife, where I'm from. And this thing here, this is my great-granddad's box plane. He was a carpenter. My granddad used it as well, and I think my dad used it as well. But now, obviously, it's quite old, so I think I prefer just to have it now as a memento to my family up here. So it's going on my shelf. My own woodworking, full circle, I quite like that. I've got my guitars now hanging on the wall. Now I knew where the joists were because it was me that built this whole thing on this side. So these are all screwed into joists, there's no way they're going to fall off. These are a few memories with me and Jack and Sarah. This is my chair for when I've got a bit of downtime where I'm scratching my head, thinking of the next thing to talk about when living the Skye Life. I just sit here, I'll maybe pick up a guitar, have a bit of a strum, have a bit of a think, and then some more photographs of Sarah and I and Jack. And then Shabby Road Studios, which is what I've always called my studios. These rugs I got from Karen at Skye Antiques. I think it's now called the Skye Craft Centre. Anyway, she got in touch with me because she knew I was looking for rugs like this, these Afghan rugs. They're all really old wool rugs. I really love them, they're really cool. We've just sort of put them on the floor in a random order. I just think it's really nice.
Hi, Jack.
Jack's making himself feel at home. You might remember when I first was going through the byre, in this corner here I found this. And it's an old bill hook, which they probably used for cutting down the vegetation on the croft back in the day. I said I was going to include it in the byre in some way, and here it is. I've got it hanging up on the wall, which I'm really chuffed with. These sacks here, they're actually Hessian coffee sacks. I need something to deaden the sound in here. If it's too echoey, you can't make music in a very echoey environment. So I used these because I thought it just ties in really well with the sort of rustic look. The deadening properties of the sacks and the rugs together make the acoustics in here so much better. This is an old map of where I'm from in Fife. Got my drum kit set up permanently. When I'm not using it, I'll just put a cloth over the top of it, but right now I just like to be able to jump behind it and have a bit of a blast. Got some old mirrors and things and some of the old backstage passes from when I was in bands. A friend of mine, Justin, painted that for me. He also painted that as well, and that's how I met him. That's Jim Morrison from the band The Doors. I used to be in a tribute band to The Doors, and Justin gave me that when we were in Edinburgh. This was my great uncle's painting, and he used to do wood graining. So this is just a standard board, and he's made it look like it's wood grain. It's all hand painted on, including the scene here, the willow pattern scene. That was back in the 1960s, I think. Got my Kurt Cobain for inspiration, one of my favourite singer-songwriters. Up on the structural beams, I got hold of these on eBay, actually. They're old horse brasses, and I put them along because I wanted to look like an old tavern in here, like an old pub in Scotland. And so I've covered this beam in them. I think it looks really cool. Sort of taverna style. As I said, the paint is the paint that's in our favourite holiday cottage. I wanted to have a nod to that in here. I wanted to have the same coloration as that room. But the main inspiration is the Store Cafe in Betty Hill. That's why I wanted to keep these beams. That's why I built all this wood. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Anyway, let's get these drums fired up, shall we? There you go. So that's Shabby Road Studios. All this hard work, all these months, converting this very old stone building into something that we can use now for both of us to be creative in. It's just such a joy to have it. We're both really thankful for all the support from everyone that watches our channel and also our patrons and Ko-fi supporters. Thank you so much. And here it is.
watching our video. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave us a like, a comment, or subscribe to our channel if you don't already. It's free to do and it helps us out, so it's really cool.
A huge thanks to everyone that supported this channel over on Ko-fi. If you haven't done already and you feel like it, you could pop over there, buy us a coffee, or buy Jack a treat.
Or if you want to help us out more long term, you can become one of our amazing patrons over on Patreon, where you get loads of bonus content for helping us out every month.
All the links to our pages are in the video description below.
Thanks again for watching. Please do let us know in the comments what you think of the finished byre with us all moved in. Otherwise, we will see you
Leaving our suburban life, moving over the sea to Skye. Are we chasing a dream? I guess in time we will see when we're living the Skye life. Living the Skye life. Right, come in behind me then.
That was difficult. Good job we like each other, right? You could pick up a penguin. You can pick up a patron.
Pick up a patron. Maybe that should be a thing.
That's not one of the criteria.
No. We're not going to do that. We're not. You don't. That doesn't happen on Patreon. No.
I like to move it.
Go on then. I'll watch.
No, I can't do it.
Okay, I'll help you.
Next week.
Ow! Yeah. Structurally, it's pretty solid.
Can you go in your bed, please? No.
I'm here now. Click here to subscribe to live in the Skye Life.
Click here to go back to the start of our adventures with our very first episode.